And we're going to kick off with the astonishing news that Alex has joined Team OLED. Finally, he's got an OLED display. He's using it as a PC monitor. And that ties into this question from Jonas Larsson Tagazade. Could we get some impressions from Alex regarding his new OLED TV? What are the pros and cons from a PC gaming perspective?
Okay,
Alex.
so well, this is pretty easy. The pros there are a lot of them. There are quite a lot of them. But like just setting up the thing in the first place wasn't at all an issue. HDMI plugged in, the monitor immediately recognized that it was a PC. There was no needing to manually toggle that it was a PC. It automatically kicked in deep color. It asked me if I wanted to, and I just said, okay. So it just said it recognized it was a PC. And that is not an issue at all. But then you're like at the desktop, and it's like, this isn't right. This is 4K 60. That is, and I plugged it into an RTX 3080 Ti, by the way, which is in my Ryzen 9 595X machine, 5950X. And so it's 4K 60 on the desktop. I'm like, this needs to be 4K 120. Why isn't it? I wasn't really getting it because I'm forgetting that this is a television and not a desktop monitor. And the way in the NVIDIA control panel, and the way, I guess, probably from the Microsoft side, the way the resolutions are listed is that it first lists television resolutions, which are going to be different than those that are PC resolutions. It depends. This is from television to television, what is considered what resolution is going to be different. I think it's actually something that the monitor developer or the television developer is partially responsible for, this EDID and its listing of resolutions. In that case, so it was just clicking automatically the normal television 4K 60 stream, which is 3840 by 2160. You have to scroll down there and then hit the other listing, which only offers 120 hertz and 100 hertz, 3840 by 2160 at in the PC list. That's a bit annoying. I don't like that at all. I don't like the fact that they are listed differently and they have to be selected differently. Thankfully, this is not something that is always transparent in games. Sometimes games are really good at this. Like, for example, Marvel Spider-Man will just list the resolution. It lists resolution and all available frequency types for it. So this is just more of like a Windows thing. Some games collate the list of resolutions and refresh rates much better than the way Windows or NVIDIA control panel does it. So that's a little annoyance, but it's actually not that big of a deal because you probably want to be in 4K 120 hertz anyway, and that's probably the last time you're going to ever touch that dial. That's a little minor setup issue. Immediately, what I first did is just kind of like inspected the desktop. I set it up to use like black background, hiding the taskbar, made sure like the pixel combing stuff was on. I don't know, like the pixel adjustment and whatever. So I'm not at all increasing the chance of burn-in, but I then loaded up Doom Eternal and I put it up to 4K 120, what it runs at very easily, even in native, like maxed on like a large RTX GPU. And it was pretty glorious. But then I turned on, because John was talking to me about it, like turn on BFI. And turning that on was, I think it's like 3 clicks or so of the remote to bring up the game optimizer, as it's called, and check that out. And boy, does it look a lot better. To the point where it's like you are negating a lot of the, like, it's hard to explain to most people who haven't seen it before. BFI does look a lot like a CRT monitor. It looks a lot like a CRT monitor, where like you're just playing on your LCD screen there all day. And even at like a high hertz level, like my laptop here, which goes to like something stupid like 300, you're still seeing that blur. And that's just completely gone with BFI on high on the C1 here. It's just like completely gone. at least human completely gone from the viewing angles and the distance I am at, which is actually very close to the screen. So BFI is a heavy recommendation for me. The fact that they're like cutting down that feature on the C2 is just such a no-go to buy that screen.
On the C2, it works at 60 hertz, but they removed the 120 hertz mode, which is
what makes it golden, actually. That's what makes it so compelling. That's what, because like obviously at 60 hertz, people are visible. People can, like, I can see a flicker at 60 hertz.
You can see it flicker.
You can see it, but you get used to it over time. But you can see it initially. But 120, you don't see the flicker anymore, at least for my eyes. And the clarity is much higher. And also, as John has talked about many times before, if you tweak HDR and do all these other things, you're getting a really great brightness value as well, too. But one other thing that I talked about after the fact on Twitter is that maybe Oliver wants to share the screenshot I showed on Twitter of a number of icons there, is that the screen, I think, uses something called like WBGR. Maybe I'm saying the acronym wrong.
The subpixel arrangement.
The subpixel arrangement is not the classical, what is it, like a triangle of RGB or something like that? The usual one? I forget what it is, the historical one. But that's what... I don't
think it's a triangle, it's
something. I don't know what it is.
It's something.
It's something. Either way, but Windows, it's font rendering as well as the way it scales things like icons and UI elements and a lot of other things. And then the way this plugs also directly into games is that it will not recognize that the fact that the subpixel arrangement is different. So most of the screen, like let's say 90% of it looks really great, but for like yellows and light greens at the very edges, like you're seeing in that screenshot that Oliver hopefully has shown, you'll see at the very edges there's like a red line on the left-hand side, if I recall, and a green line on the right-hand side. And it does look not too great. And there were also issues with text. You can clear up the issues with text, I think, for the most part, like 99% of those, with the clear type option and checking that through in Windows 10 and Windows 11. But the other stuff, you can't get rid of unless you use another type of program that I've yet to try out yet, but maybe I'll report upon it next time I'm here. But that is the only issue with the monitor I'm having so far. I think everything is so good otherwise.
To note, that's not even necessarily an OLED thing. Like, there are LCDs with this as well.
Yeah,
like it's just,
it happens also
it's how they do the subpixel arrangement, and also, it does vary a lot.
It happens in those newer QD OLEDs, and it'll probably happen with a whole variety of displays.
Basically, Windows or Microsoft needs to address this. There should be a way to make changes to allow it to sort of work better with the different subpixel arrangements.
I imagine there possibly is. And maybe if that is something that we could shoot off an email, I could shoot off an email.
Like this happened also, I think the iPhone, when they switched to OLED screen, they used a different subpixel arrangement and made changes to that. And it looks perfect on there.
Yeah.
It's not the typical stripe.
Yeah, for sure. That is the only issue. Technically, also in other things like in SDR mode, Premiere's like the worst program made by mankind. It flickers a little bit. Like when you scroll the timeline, there's like some brightness issues in Premiere itself.
Are you in VRR mode on your desktop?
I turned it off.
Okay.
I turned it off. No. Because
that's usually Premiere really doesn't work well with VRR.
No, another thing that I found with Premiere is that it just slows down the entire Windows UI. But I don't know what that's about. That's also VRR off, though. I have VRR off on my desktop.
Did you very specifically go into the NVIDIA control panel, choose Premiere,
No, I switched it off completely, as in it's set to off. Like there's no G-Sync
but I found
enabled.
that for whatever reason, like sometimes because the Adobe would use GPU functions, I would still have that issue where the mouse would get slow and things would behave slow. And by very specifically specifying it in the panel to like not use anything like that, that cleared it up for me at least. And now it doesn't even if Premiere's running the way it doesn't cause like mouse or Windows to behave weird.
Okay, well, maybe I'll double check or go to the options again. But that's the one thing I've noticed. But I don't know if that has anything to do with the screen. I think it's just Premiere being bad.
That's just
Premiere's
Windows
bad.
and Premiere doing its thing.
But yeah, I love it. So yeah, that's all I have to say to you, Larson.
Those black levels, man, coming from that Samsung.
Yeah, black levels, like I said, it's really cool that, well, it's cool and not cool, where I used to be able to tell that I could turn my screen off. having to double check pretty often now that I'm turning my screen off, because I actually don't know, because my desktop is black. Like, I can't see things. Yeah.
Well, spoilers, Alex. If it's off, there should be a red light.
Yeah, but like it's like at the bottom.
I know it's on the bottom.
Yeah,
like
moving your eyes downwards. It's just not
moving my eyes. I guess technically one thing I would have liked. It doesn't have a very PC desk friendly. Well, it's friendly enough. The stand. It's like a lot of my wiring is scooting to the left and right of it. There's no cord drapage. John should know there's no cord drapage, but there is like oblique angles, and I don't know. It could be better.
You should look for like a desk mounting stand that can handle a big heavy display.
Like a basic thing.
Screw it onto your thing, and it's just a vertical riser. And you could probably have it,
that would be insane looking.
You could tilt it and like, swivel it and everything like that. Absolutely. You could totally do that.
It would have to be like platinum, stainless steel. This thing, it was, I mean, maybe I will look at that in the eventuality of life.
They do make things for heavy displays, so do keep an eye out for that.
I will.
Well, I'm just going to list a couple more advantages of using an OLED TV as a PC monitor, which is to say you have a remote, you have decent speakers, you have apps.
Yep. That's nice.
You have a lot of really useful stuff on there. You don't have obviously DisplayPort.
Yeah,
you are limited to 4K 120, but that's kind of
it's good enough.
I'm okay with that. And the other thing, of course, is the pricing of these screens is actually now very competitive against PC monitors.
So,
I mean, you got some crazy deal on yours.
Yeah, this was only in Berlin, though, and I'm very thankful for Chris, if you're watching this, who let me know about this deal and helped me get it. That this was 675 euros. My goodness, the price of the 48C2 monitor variant is like 1,900 euros, like something like that. It's like 1,900 euros. Like, what the hell? Like, why would I buy that? And it has also less features instead of this. Like, it just felt like so. Like, I don't need DisplayPort. I'd rather have 4 HDMI ports for my job anyways. Like
the monitor space is just a huge mess right now, I feel.
Yeah, I think Tom Peterson also said that PC monitors suck. And I liked hearing Tom say that, by the way. That was great.
And as you noted, Alex, by the way, the TV, you get all those HDMI ports are 2.1. Right?
Yeah, right.
So you've got a ton of them as well. And it's just it's
4.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, one of these days I'll figure out what eARC is. By the way, John,
you don't know what it is?
I still don't know what it is. Sorry. What is it?
All it is you let's say you plug a console into your TV directly, right? And then you have like say a sound system or something or a sound bar. You would then run you would essentially run the eARC port from your TV to the sound bar or whatever, and it would be able to transfer the audio over HDMI from the TV to the soundbar, and you would get like the full like high quality like different audio standards that would pass through, like Dolby Digital, Dolby Atmos, all that.
Can it also send video eARC?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So in my case, the way I use it is I have my main AV receiver with all the devices, and then I plug from that into the TV's eARC port. And where eARC comes in handy is if I'm using like the TV's built-in apps like Netflix or something, or like just the USB port for watching video, it then passes that audio back to the AV receiver. And then I can hear the audio from that without having to run a separate cable. So
that's good. Yeah, because otherwise Netflix on the TV would not get your surround setup. You're right. Yeah.
Exactly.